looking ahead tomorrow. Scattered showers throughout the day and breezy winds. Temperatures mainly in the 60s, a little cooler in Pendleton at 59, 54 in Yakima, 50 in Cle Elum, and 56 tomorrow in Connell. Weather photos, we've been getting lots of great ones. This one was Carol Bird out for a walk at Howard Amish, captured a Sunday sunrise. Beautiful photo. Thank you, Carol. Remember to send your photos to news at NBCRightNow.com. Include your name, a little bit of information about the photo, and we'd love to get that on the air for you. Here's our 7-day planner. Again, chance of rain. We'll see those scattered showers mainly through Thursday in Yakima, on and off in the Tri-Cities. We have an average chance of rain on Friday, but the good news is we dry out on Saturday. We're looking for some sunshine. Temperatures cooling into the 50s, but we're going to have a dry Halloween for the little trick-or-treaters on Sunday. Temperatures a little bit chilly, though, so bundle up. That's your full weather forecast. Back to you, Scott and Tracy.
Stacey Coats for Kids is back, and this Friday is our first Fill the Bus Day. And for decades, we've been collecting new and gently used coats to give them to people who need warm coats for the winter.
Hello.
Hello, Chief Escalera.
Say, Elizabeth,
Yes,
good evening. Say, is it possible to get the type on the agenda a little bigger? It's
actually, Janice can zoom it in here in a second.
when she gets a minute.
Yep.
That'd be very great. Thank you. Dang it, keep using my pencil. Going away. Oh, that's lots better. Thank you.
Well, welcome everyone. The time is now 6:30. Welcome to the City of Sunnyside Regular Council meeting for Monday, October 25th, 2021. This meeting is being live streamed using Zoom. Please allow one person to speak at a time. I will call on every member to make sure you have had an opportunity to ask any questions. I will now ask Deputy City Clerk Rangel to start the roll call, please.
Mayor Guerrero,
Here.
Deputy Mayor Broersma,
I'm here.
Counselor Farmer,
Here.
Counselor Beeler,
Here.
Counselor Restucci,
Here.
Counselor Hicks,
Here.
Counselor Hart,
Here,
Interim City Manager Alba,
Here.
City Clerk Renteria,
Excused.
Interim Finance and Admin Services Director Horner,
here,
Fire Chief Anderson,
I'm here.
Police Chief Escalera,
I'm here.
Public Works Director Fisher,
Here.
Deputy City Clerk Rangel, here.
Okay, we do have a quorum today, so first order of business, we want to see if there's anyone in the call who would like to give a public comment today. Hearing no guests, do we have any that got emailed or mailed into our office, Madam City Manager?
I received none. Ms. Rangel, did you receive any?
I also received none.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. We'll move into our consent agenda, which consists of the minutes for the approval of the minutes for the September 27th, 2021 regular meeting, approval minutes for the October 4th, 2021 workshop, payroll vouchers numbers 119013 through 119019, and wire transfers as listed for $423,882.66 for the period ending on October 8th, 2021. Approved claim vouchers numbers 102225 through 102279, and wire transfers as listed for $1,075,672.59 for the period ending on October 13th, 2021. Approved claim vouchers numbers 102280 through 102330, and wire transfers as listed for $461,847.78 for the period ending on October 20th, 2021. Council members, does anyone wish to pull an item or has questions on the consent agenda?
This is Counselor Farmer, and I have one I'd like to remove.
Thank you. Which one will that be, so we go discuss it separately?
It's going to be under payroll vouchers, transaction number 15270. It's a payroll for Martin Casey in the amount of $2,065.36.
Sounds good. Does anyone else wish to pull an item or has questions on the consent agenda? Okay, Ms. City Manager, I do have a couple of questions on a couple of transactions. I don't wish to pull them. I just want some clarification on them, please. Item number 15331 for $6,865.63. It's a little bit out of it's payroll for an employee, but it's a little bit higher than usual. I would like to get some clarification, make sure it's not a typo or some sort of accidental number that got thrown in there.
And I'm sorry, I didn't bring a pen and paper. I'm not in my usual location in my house. So could you say the name of the employee?
Yeah, let me look it up because I just looked it up earlier today and I had to bring up the actual.
Oh, that's okay. I'm in bias. I can look it up. What was
I was going to say, if
transaction?
you'll allow me, I can address it. City
Okay,
Manager.
great. Thank you.
That was a employee who separated from employment. So there was cash outs of his vacation and any other applicable leave, as this was his last check.
Okay, thank you. That clarifies that. And that makes sense. The other item is going to be 15854. It says UB assist agent, I believe, and 15855. One's for $27,756.86, and the other ones were $1,744.56.
Those are the ARPA payments for utility billing that you guys had approved for the assistance for the citizens.
Got it. Okay, that makes complete sense now. Okay, thank you for that clarification. No further questions from me on those items. Council members, anyone else wish to ask any questions, or what is the desire of council if no further questions?
Mr. Mayor, I have a question. Did Mr. Farmer pull that item?
Yes, check number 15270. We'll address that separately.
Okay, just the check. Okay.
Yes.
Understood. All right, move to approve the consent agenda as presented and amended.
And I will second that. This is Deputy Mayor Boersma.
Okay, motion by Councilor Restucci, second by Deputy Mayor Boersma to approve the consent agenda as amended minus check number 15270. Is there any debate on this item? No debate. Can we get a roll call, please?
Mayor Guerrero,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Boersma,
Yes.
Counselor Restucci,
Yes.
Counselor Beeler,
Yes.
Counselor Hicks,
Yes.
Counselor Farmer,
Yes.
Counselor Hart.
Yes.
Mayor, you have 7 yes and 0 no.
Thank you. And consent agenda is approved. Okay, up next we have item 1527 for payroll voucher for Martin Casey. Councilor Farmer, you have the floor.
Yes, I brought this up the last time we approved payroll vouchers. I expressed my concern about it. I am going to express it again today. I have read the contract again. I still do not see why we have to pay him. And in reading the contract, it says council may, but it doesn't say we have to. And I have seen no authorization brought before the council to approve it. In the long term, I think we're gifting public funds. I think that we need a third attorney's opinion on this. Thank you.
Okay, anyone else has a question or comment on this item? Okay, I just have a comment on this. Obviously, I think we discussed at the last meeting, and we've had a couple of attorneys look at this, and I really do think we need to maybe work on the actual contract for future city managers. That way this could be avoided. It's something that has been used multiple times, and I've been through at least two of them, I think, if I remember correctly, of these contracts. And I do stand behind them. I think we went through enough scrutiny with the city attorneys and council members involved to be able to say it's a decent, good document that we can stand behind. But that's my comments on the actual contract itself. Hearing no further comments, what is the desire of council on this item?
Move to pay the one check to the past city manager.
And I'll second that, Councilman Hart.
Okay, motion by Councilor Beeler, seconded by Councilor Hart to pay former city manager Martin Casey the check number 15270. Is there any debate on this item?
This is Councilor Hicks. I do have one question.
Go ahead, Councilor Hicks.
Is this his final check?
Madam City Manager, do you have the answer for that?
Yes, I do. No, he will be paid through November 15th. His last check will be on November 25th. Unless he secures a job before then.
That's the only question I had.
Thank you. Okay, any further debate? Okay, here no further debate. Can we get roll call vote on this one, please?
Mayor Guerrero,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Boersma,
Yes.
Counselor Restucci,
Yes.
Counselor Beeler,
Yes.
Counselor Hicks,
Yes.
Counselor Farmer,
No.
Counselor Hart.
Yes.
Mayor, you have 6 yes and 1 no.
Thank you. Motion passes. Up next, we're moving into our active agenda, which is going to consist of ad valorem ordinance. Consider authorizing the interim city manager to adopt an ordinance increasing the ad valorem property tax levy by the maximum amount allowed, 1%, to a total amount to be levied in 2020 of $2,440,004.25. Madam City Manager.
And I'm going to pass this item to Ms. Horner, who is the person that submitted this document.
Good evening. So this is the ordinance setting ad valorem tax levy for year 2022. This is our property tax levy that we do every year. We did present the entire revenue program to the city council at the budget workshop on October 4th. And then we had a public hearing at the last council meeting, October 11th. And we are requesting council to approve the ordinance increasing the property tax levy by 1%, which is the legal limit. Are there any questions?
Okay, council members, I'll go down the list. If there's any questions or comments. Madam City Manager, is this the one you were mentioning about doing just one reading instead of doing the second reading?
That is correct. If council doesn't mind, this is really a standard. We aren't deviating from anything that we haven't done in the last at least 7 years that I've been here. So I think it is pretty straightforward. And especially since we have had no public comment on it or any questions from the public, I think that it's pretty understandable.
Thank you. And if anybody objects, we could definitely do the second reading, but I support the city manager on this. Sounds like it's a pretty, kind of dry process that we do every year. So we'll go down our list, and if there's any questions or comments or objections of it just being one reading instead of 2 readings. Deputy Mayor Broersma.
Well, I'm going to vote in favor. But I kind of cringe when I do it because I also recognize the amount of inflation that we've experienced over the last year or so, how that's impacted people of the valley. And because I have a number of acquaintances and friends who are involved in real estate, I also know how much property values have gone up. And so this is an increase in tax on top of an increase in tax. And so it is painful, not just out of my own pocket, but I think out of a lot of homeowners. Once again, I'm going to vote in favor of it, but I just wanted to put on the public record the fact that it makes me uncomfortable to see our taxes going up this much.
Councilor Restucci.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have to kind of echo the sentiments of the deputy mayor here. Not every city in the state takes the 1%. Many have not taken it in years. Unfortunately, we're between a rock and a hard place when it comes to this, and if we don't do it, we're going to be behind. So I'm supporting it, although I kind of agree with the deputy mayor that I wish we had a way to not raise it.
Councilor Beeler.
I have no questions or comments.
Councilor Hicks.
I'm in agreement with my colleagues. They've jumped up property taxes already quite a bit. 1% isn't a lot, but it still is an increase, but I can stand behind it.
Councilor Farmer.
I would agree also. I think property owners have to take backseat again. Property values and property taxes have gone up considerably this year. It wouldn't bother me if it's only $24,000. It wouldn't bother me if we did not pass it on, but it's whatever the council wants to do.
Councilor Hart.
No comments.
Okay, and no comments from me either. So what is the desire of council on this item?
I move that we approve the ordinance.
I will second that motion. This is Deputy Mayor Broersma.
Okay, motion by Councilor Beeler, seconded by Deputy Mayor Broersma to authorize the interim city manager to adopt an ordinance increasing the ad valorem property tax levied by the maximum amount allowed 1% to a total amount to be levied in 2022 for $2,440,004.25. Is there any debate on this item? Hearing no debate, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Mayor Guerrero,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Broersma,
Yes.
Councilor Restucci,
Yes.
Councilor Beeler,
Yes.
Councilor Hicks,
Yes.
Councilor Farmer,
No.
Councilor Hart,
Yes.
Mayor, you have 6 yes and 1 no.
Thank you. Motion passes. Up next, we have a third quarter budget amendment. Consider authorizing the interim city manager to adopt an ordinance amending the 2021 budget. Madam City Manager.
And again, I'm going to pass this one on to Ms. Horner for a report out.
Thank you, City Manager. This is for our standard third quarter budget amendment based on unexpected and expenditures and enhancements that were approved by council throughout the quarter. The total budget amendment amount is $1,306,082. In the summary sheet, I did list out the various funds that were affected by this increase and the items that had been taken into account for those increases. And I'm happy to answer any questions that you have on those. Again, all of the items are things that had been previously approved through council or were unexpected expenditures.
Thank you. And we'll start with Councilor Restucci. Questions or comments on this item?
No questions or comments, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Beeler,
No questions or comments.
Councilor Hicks,
No questions or comments.
Councilor Farmer,
No comments.
Councilor Hart.
I just want to say I appreciate these reports as we go through these amendments, and helps us keep on track of what we're spending and what we're not doing. So thank you very much for that. And I have no other further comments.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Broersma.
No, it all seems pretty clear to me. Thanks.
Thank you. I do have one question. I did see in there for overtime. Is that across the departments, or is that one department in particular who is kind of eating up quite a bit of that overtime?
Are you referring to just item or factor number 4?
I believe so. At the top of the
Okay.
document, it listed items that were being
Yeah.
considered, and I think one was overtime.
Right. The item number 4 includes anything having to do with wages. And so that was put in because we did create those 3 positions of code enforcement, building inspector, and police officer. So all of the line items, including salaries, overtime, and benefits, are affected by that change. So there's not an extraordinary addition of overtime.
Do you know what the dollar amount is for overtime for this amendment?
I do not. I'm so sorry. I don't have that exact amount.
But it's not way out of line from what we would see on a regular basis?
Correct. It's the standard. It was used on the percentage of overtime for the previously budgeted positions.
Got it. Okay. Thank you. All right. Our council, what is your desire on this item?
Councilor Hicks, I'll move to approve.
Councilor Restucci, I'll second.
So motion by Councilor Hicks, second by Councilor Restucci to authorize the interim city manager to adopt an ordinance amending the 2021 budget. Is there any debate on this item? Hearing no debate, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Mayor Guerrero,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Broersma,
Yes.
Councilor Restucci,
Yes.
Councilor Beeler,
Yes.
Councilor Hicks,
Yes.
Councilor Farmer,
Yes.
Councilor Hart.
Yes.
Mayor, you have 7 yes and 0 no votes.
Motion passes. Thank you. Okay, up next we have Luke's Commercial Estates Closed Record Hearing. Move to approve the attached resolution adopting the finding made by the Planning Commission and approving the Luke's Commercial Estate preliminary plat application. This closed record decision hearing is being conducted on the proposed preliminary plat of Luke's Commercial Estates to subdivide 3.63 acres into a total of 15 commercial lots. The closed record decision hearing shall be on the record prepared by the Planning Commission for the City Council, and no new evidence may be presented. We're going to be doing the appearance of fairness disclosure. The concern is that this hearing be fair in form and substance as well as appearance. Council members, do any of you have a conflict of interest concerning this issue? Do any of you stand to gain or lose any financial benefit as a result of the outcome of this hearing? If your answer is yes, please speak now. Council members, can you hear and consider this in a fair and objective manner? If your answer is no, please speak now. Audience members, at this time, we will ask the audience if there are any objections to my participation or any other council members' participation in these proceedings. Hearing no objections, this closed record decision hearing is now open at 6:52 p.m. Okay, now we'll get the report from our interim city manager on this item.
And I'm actually going to hand this over to Planning Supervisor Shuttleworth.
Thank you, City Manager. This is a closed record hearing, and what it is a hearing on the record prepared by the Planning Commission. I'm assuming everybody can hear me? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
So this is a record prepared by the Planning Commission on July 14th. The applicant made a preliminary plat application to subdivide his property, 3.63 acres into 15 lots. There'll be 14 smaller lots and then one larger lot. This particular property is located just after the last signal light that's on Yakima Valley Highway as you're heading west. Used to be a lot of trucks and other stuff stored there. Most of those have been removed. This is a commercial zone property, so this will be a commercial type development. The Planning Commission on September 28th conducted a public hearing and took public testimony. There wasn't a lot of testimony, mostly the applicant. And then the Planning Commission, after considering the public testimony, both verbal and written, made a recommendation to the City Council to approve this preliminary plat with conditions. And those conditions are listed in the draft resolution that's attached to the staff information. And so that would be is the City Council would consider that recommendation from the Planning Commission, and then the planning staff recommends a move to approve the attached resolution adopting the findings made by the Planning Commission and approving the Lux Commercial Estates preliminary plat application. That's my comments, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Shuttleworth. Can you give us a summary of the requirements from the Planning Commission?
Okay, just a sec, let me get those. So one of them, as you look at this preliminary plat, this location, on two sides, there is curb and gutter, but there are no sidewalks, so they would require sidewalks along Yakima Valley Highway. There's no curb, gutter, or sidewalks, so those would have to be improved and placed there. They would have to put in the sanitary sewer system and the water system to the lots. The same with electric. And that is about it. That's all of the conditions. So they're basically general conditions. There's no special conditions that the Planning Commission has recommended.
Thank you. Okay, now we'll go down our list of council members for questions or comments on this item, and we'll start with Councilor Beeler. Okay, we'll come back.
I don't have anything. I'm sorry, I don't have anything right now.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Hicks, question or comments?
Question, curb, gutter, and sidewalk, is that gonna be on the city or on the contractor?
That'll be on the subdivider. Yes, the contractor.
All right.
Councilor Farmer?
No questions.
Councilor Hart?
Yes, it's commercial plots. Is that for businesses?
That's the intent of the applicant, is to put commercial businesses there.
Okay, and there's what, 15? 15,
Three.
okay. I just was rereading the requirements there. Yeah, thank you. That was my question.
Deputy Mayor Boersma?
Questions, just a comment. I'm kind of enthusiastic about this. I've heard that this was coming for some time now, and this has potential to really improve the look as we come into Sunnyside. The trucks there were getting to be a bit of an eyesore, or the trailers, I guess. And so seeing those removed and seeing a new development go in there, I'm kind of enthusiastic about it. So I'm looking forward to it.
Councilor Restucci?
I'll agree with the deputy mayor on that. I too have been following this and looking forward to it. So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
And I all agree as well. I think this is definitely gonna add some additional curb appeal to our entrance, and I'm looking forward to it being developed. I'm fairly sure it's gonna be eye-pleasing as we come into Sunnyside, and yeah, hopefully it's a quick turnaround from today's presentation, but I know it takes time, but I'm looking forward to breaking ground and getting some businesses in there and making it a little bit nicer to coming into Sunnyside from that part of the freeway and the highway. So, all right, any additional questions or comments on this closed hearing? Okay, hearing none, we will go ahead and close this record hearing decision at 6:57 p.m.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I would move to approve the attached resolution adopting the finding made by the Planning Commission and approving the Lux Commercial Estates preliminary plat application.
I would second that. This is Hart.
Okay, motion by Councilor Restucci, second by Councilor Hart to approve the attached resolution adopting the findings made by the Planning Commission and approving the Lux Commercial Estate preliminary plat application. Is there any debate on this item? Hearing no debate, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Mayor Guerrero,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Boersma,
Yes.
Councilor Restucci,
Yes, sorry.
Councilor Beeler,
Yes.
Councilor Hicks,
Yes.
Councilor Farmer,
Yes.
Councilor Hart.
Yes.
Mayor, you have 7 yes and 0 no votes.
Thank you. Motion passes. Up next, we have Gonzalez closed record hearing. Move to approve the rezone application RZ 202-10343 to rezone 603 South Hill Road from urban residential agricultural to medium density residential R2 and adopt the attached ordinance. This closed record decision hearing is being conducted on the proposed rezone application RZ 202-10343 to rezone 603 South Hill Road from urban residential agricultural URA to medium density residential R2. The closed record decision hearing shall be on the record prepared by the Planning Commission for the City Council, and no new evidence may be presented. Next, I'll read the appearance of fairness disclosure. The concern is that this hearing be fair in form and substance as well as appearance. Council members, do any of you have a conflict of interest concerning this issue? Do any of you stand to gain or lose any financial benefit as a result of the outcome of this hearing? If your answer is yes, please speak now. Council members, can you hear and consider this in a fair and objective manner? If your answer is no, please speak now. Audience members, at this time, we would ask the audience if there are any objections to my participation or any other council members' participation in these proceedings. In objection, this closed record decision hearing is now open at 7:01 p.m. And Madam City Manager, can we get a report on this?
Yes, again, I will refer this to Planning Supervisor Shuttleworth.
Thank you, City Manager. This is an application to rezone about 9.94 acre parcel from urban residential agriculture to medium density residential. The urban residential agriculture has a minimum lot size of 1 acre. And the medium density residential is a lot smaller. What the applicant is proposing to do is make a 2-lot short plat out of this particular property so she can construct a house on her property with her family member. The existing lot is kind of narrow and long, so she's applying for the M2 or medium density residential zoning because it allows a hammerhead or flag lot type configuration. If we went with an R1, she would not be able to subdivide the property because she would not have enough frontage along South Hill Road. This property is adjacent to the Continental tank washing facility and the truss manufacturer there. She is working with the Port of Sunnyside because there's some issues on access road there, where part of the access road's on their property, part of it's on the applicant's property. So they're trying to get that fixed. The Planning Commission on October 13th did conduct a public hearing and took testimony. And after considering the oral and written testimony, has made a recommendation to approve this rezone. The rezone has to be approved through an ordinance to adopt that so that we can change our comprehensive plan map and our zoning ordinance map. And so the Planning Commission has recommended approval of the rezone. Planning staff recommends the following motion to approve the rezone application to rezone 603 South Hill Road from urban residential agricultural to medium density residential and adopt the attached ordinance.
Thank you for the report. We'll go through our list of council members for questions or comments, and we'll start with Councilor Hicks.
No questions or comments.
Councilor Farmer,
Comments.
Councilor Hart,
No comments.
Deputy Mayor Burisma,
You know, ironically, I'm familiar with this piece of property from a couple of decades ago. I don't know the current landowner, but as I remember that, I don't think there's any other way of rezoning that property to make it feasible to build a second home on that. So I think this is about the best idea and the best way to go forward.
Councilor Restucci,
Deputy Mayor said it. I agree with him.
Councilor Beeler,
I've been on that same property myself, and it's kind of landlocked in there and kind of useless the way it is. So I think this is a way that she could really use her land. So I'm glad she's doing it.
and I just have one question, Mr. Shuttleworth. Obviously, this changes the zoning. Does it not create like an island as far as the other zonings are concerned around it?
It does create an island of an R2 zoning, but it is the property, all the property to the east of this property is zone residential, so it'd be consistent with those zonings. We have probably almost 300 feet of road there where everything is urban, the urban residential agricultural, and we're slowly rezoning those. Further down the road, we've already done our changing of the zoning for smaller lots. The idea is this property will eventually become the smaller lot type residential zone as opposed to the agricultural residential zones.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Councilor, any additional questions or comments on this closed record hearing? Okay, hearing no further questions, this hearing is now closed at 7:05 p.m. And where's the desired council on this item?
Councilor Hicks, I'll move to approve.
Counselor Beeler, I'll second.
Okay, motion by Councilor Hicks, seconded by Councilor Beeler to approve the rezone application RZ 202-10343 to rezone 603 South Hill Road from urban residential agricultural URA to medium density residential R2 and adopt the attached ordinance. Is there any debate on this item? Hearing no debate, can we get a roll call, please? Roll call vote, please.
Mayor Guerrero,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Burisma,
Yes.
Counselor Restucci,
Yes.
Counselor Beeler,
Yes.
Counselor Hicks,
Yes.
Counselor Farmer,
Yes.
Counselor Hart.
Yes.
Mayor, you have 7 yes and 0 no votes.
Motion passes. Thank you. Up next, we have ILA fire apparatus sharing. Consider authorizing the interim city manager to enter into an ILA with West Benton Fire Rescue and City of Grandview, providing for the sharing of reserve fire department apparatus. Madam City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor Guerrero, and I have our fire chief ready to give a presentation on this. So take it away, Mr. Anderson.
Mr. Mayor and City Manager, good evening, council members. This item comes as a result of improved cooperation between cities of Grandview, West Benton Fire Rescue, and Sunnyside. And if you recall, back in 2020, the council approved us to enter into an automatic response aid agreement for operations with Mabton included as well, but they're not in this portion. So since then, we've actually improved, standardized our cooperation as far as operations training. And as a goal, collective goal between all the fire chiefs, we'd like to keep moving forward towards improving our fire rating. So the WSRB, Washington State Surveys and Rating Bureau, rates each jurisdictions based off of their fire department water supply, communications, and fire prevention to develop insurance fire rating, which the worse that number, the higher that number, the more expensive insurance rates are for commercial and residential both. One of the things that Sunnyside, the last rating was 2017, and one of the things that we have been challenged with in that report was that 7% of the penalty points were a result of the apparatus being beyond age, and the age is 25 years. At 15 years, they begin penalizing that apparatus, and at 25, I think they completely penalize it to where it's not even recognized. The WSRB, however, has a waiver program and has told us we are required to have, each entity is required to have 1 reserve apparatus per 8 frontline fire engines. And but if we go up to 2, whether we own 2 of our own or we do it through agreement with our partners here, we get credit for that. And what happens is then all of our apparatus are then lose all their penalty points, and as a result, we get full credit for that. At this time, Sunnyside, 2 of our 3 frontline engines are 2 of the 3 are over 15 years old, so they begin accruing penalty points. Actually, 1 begins accruing penalty points this year. The other one is actually 23 years old, and then the most recent one is somewhere around 9 years old, I believe. So in all, this would benefit the city. And trying to do little things. I'd be more than glad to answer any questions.
Thank you for the report, and we'll start with Councilor Farmers. Questions or comments on this item?
Yes, and I apologize because I don't remember exactly what I read, but somewhere along the line, we're splitting the maintenance on these vehicles 30, 30, or 33, 33, 33. Is that correct?
Yeah, there was no amount in there because we figured that each of us would have 1 reserve instead of having to have 2, and that we would basically incur the same annual cost of vehicle maintenance that we normally do. And then in order for, I think it was for reasons of consideration in the contract, we just said, well, we would just bill each other 1/3, but in the end, if everyone's billing 1/3, it essentially works out as a wash. So it shouldn't cost us any billing more than normal.
Okay, that's my question. Thank you.
Councilor Hart?
Sorry, no questions.
Deputy Mayor Boersma?
I think this is an excellent creative solution to a problem, and kudos to you for thinking this up.
Councilor Restucci?
Deputy Mayor keeps stealing my fire tonight.
Councilor Beeler?
Yes.
Any questions or comments for our fire chief? I think we're losing you, Councilor Beeler. Okay, we'll come back to you, okay? Because I think your sound might be cutting out. Councilor Hicks?
No questions or comments.
Okay, I have a couple of questions. Fire Chief, obviously the fire rating is something that you've been working through for quite a while, trying to get the number lower, because if I recall correctly, the lower the number, the lower the rate. Insurance is, I guess, charged or penalized city residents because we have good systems. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
Do you recall when you got here, what was it, what number did we have and where we're at now?
Well, the rating happens every 4 or 5 years, and we haven't had a rating since September 1st of 2017 was the last one. Our next one is scheduled for June 8th of 2022. During the last one, the rating was, the aggregate score was 5.74, but then they gave us some credit. They have a divergent score, and I'm not quite sure how that works, but in total, the score was 4.68, and then they round that up to the next highest number. So we have a fire rating of 5.
And so 10 is the highest, 1 is the lowest. Is that how it works, or 0 maybe?
I don't think there's a 0. I think it's 1 through 10.
1 through 10. Okay, so we're about halfway. So sounds like we're not too bad, and hopefully when we'll get the next review in 2022, we'll see a little bit of improvement there, and that will hopefully translate to savings for our residents here in Sunnyside.
Absolutely, that's what I'm hopeful for. I will say we've had we're not sure how 2020 is going to affect our rating, because they're counting that in there. And in 2020, as you recall, with the lockdowns, we couldn't do fire inspections and we couldn't do training. So I don't know how much if they're going to give us a mulligan or not, but I think that they said that they were going to count that in there. So we'll see. I think I don't foresee us going backwards at all, and I think my gut feeling is that we'll make a little bit of improvement. I know moving forward, we'll absolutely make lots of improvement. We have a lot of things on the now that we're able to kind of reopen and get moving again. So what we are able to do is, once we put some of these newer things back into place rather, I can then invite them to come back and do an early rating again, and we should begin our credit earlier than later. So this, like I said, I don't think we're going to go backwards, but we may not have a significant improvement this time, especially if they put 2020 into the equation.
And one last question: how do we compare to our surrounding communities? Do you know it all? Yeah,
I'm pretty certain everybody around us, city-wise, or I don't know what Mabton is. I think Grandview is a 5. Teteron, I think they're a 5. I think Prosser is also a 5. And then the fire district around us, there's areas, I think they, don't quote me, but I think some areas are 6, and then some areas are up to a 9 in the fire district.
Okay, so it sounds like we're pretty comparable. So hopefully we'll make some headway and improve a little bit, and maybe set a new standard for our surrounding communities to try to catch up to us. Hopefully, we'll see how it turns out. But thank you for all your hard work and obviously dedication in getting all this into place. So appreciate it. And Councilor Beeler, questions or comments on this item?
Nothing more at this time.
Thank you very much. Okay, so what is their counsel on this item?
Mr. Mayor, this is Julie Hart. I move to authorize the city manager to enter into an ILA with West Benton Fire Rescue and City of Grandview, providing for the sharing of reserve fire department apparatus.
Commissioner Beeler will second that.
Okay, motion by Councilor Hart, second by Councilor Beeler to authorize the interim city manager to enter into an ILA with West Benton Fire Rescue and City of Grandview, providing for the sharing of reserve fire department apparatus. Is there any debate on this item? Hearing no debate, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Mayor Guerrero,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Borisma,
Yes.
Councilor Restucci,
Yes.
Councilor Beeler,
Yes.
Counselor Hicks,
Yes.
Counselor Farmer,
Yes.
Counselor Hart.
Yes.
Mayor, you have 7 yes and 0 no votes.
Motion passes. Thank you, council. Up next, we have consider authorizing the interim city manager to expend the $8,665.47 to have Blue Line Equipment repair the Kubota Tractor. Madam City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor Guerrero. I will pass this over to Public Works Director Fisher for explanation and any.
Thank you, Elizabeth. So yeah, this was our 2006 Kubota Tractor. A few weeks ago, Public Works staff started experiencing some issues, shifting from second to third and third to fourth gears. We took it into Blue Line Tractor, Blue Line Equipment actually, to have them take a look at it. Their diagnostic came back and said that basically that gears 3 and 4 were bad and needed to be replaced. And so we got a bid to actually replace those gears, which came in at about $7,200. And to replace all 4, first, second, third, and fourth gear, was the 8665 you're seeing in front of you tonight. So we decided to go ahead and go with the entire replacement of the gearbox. And so, and the reason why we're bringing this to you guys tonight is the dollar amount obviously exceeds the city manager's threshold, which normally you guys wouldn't see these type of expenditures in front of you, but since it does exceed the 7,500, that's why it's before you tonight. So with that, I can answer any questions.
Okay, and we'll start with Councilor Farmer on this one.
Being sort of in the business, I think it's a good plan, a good proposal, and I would agree with it.
Councilor Hart.
It seems like if you got to replace one gear, won't be long till the others are going too. So this is a good plan.
Deputy Mayor Boersma.
I'm in favor of this. I think it's a good idea. Let's move forward.
Councilor Restucci.
Same here, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Beeler.
Same thing here.
Councilor Hicks.
Same as my colleagues.
And I don't have any questions or comments. So what is the desire of council on this item?
Counselor Hicks, I'll move to approve.
Counselor Restucci, I'll second.
Okay, motion by Councilor Hicks, second by Councilor Restucci to authorize the interim city manager to expend the $8,665.47 to have Blue Line Equipment repair the Kubota Tractor. Is there any debate on this item? Hearing no debate, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Mayor Guerrero,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Boersma,
Yes.
Counselor Restucci,
Yes.
Counselor Beeler,
Yes.
Counselor Hicks,
Yes.
Counselor Farmer,
Yes.
Counselor Hart.
Yes.
Mayor, you have 7 yes and 0 no votes.
Motion passes. Thank you, council. Up next, we have meter reprogramming SOW. Consider authorizing the interim city manager to expend $10,001.74 with Ferguson Waterworks to reprogram 1,479 of the city water meters to read in gallons instead of cubic feet. Madam City Manager.
Thank you, Mayor Guerrero. So since this is one of my areas of expertise, it's really hard for me to pass this on to Shane, but I will, because actually we've been working together very well on this project, and I'll let him report out on it.
Thank you. Okay, so council was briefed on this a few meetings back, a few months back actually, and we got direction from you guys to move forward with this. And basically, just to kind of back up and give a little history on this, is when we had started to do the base station integration, the question was asked by my staff, and was brought to me, and then of course I brought it to Elizabeth at that time as the finance director, to see what it would take to convert. Right now the way our meters read are in cubic feet, and so they're 7.48 gallons in the cubic feet, And most people don't know that. And so when we have customers come to the counter, they have questions about how much water they've used. We start talking to them in cubic feet, which is what the girls, the utility billing clerks up front have. They don't know what that conversion is either. And so for the sake of making it easier for both staff and the citizens to understand their utility bills and to explain any issues that may arise, we asked Ferguson if what it would take for us to do this conversion. Now it is going to take us some time. We did meet with them last week. They seem to think we can. Right now we have about 1,479 meters that are in the ground with the new smart points, and the smart points are part of the base station integration that we're in the process of. Those meters were already put in the ground with the new antennas. So those ones, since they're already programmed in cubic feet, are going to have to be converted into gallons through Ferguson's personnel. So they'll do about 500 a week, I think was the number they gave us, which I think is very, very, very optimistic. I think they seem to think they can get it done in one billing cycle. I think it's probably going to span over probably 2 billing cycles, go from one into another to get it done. But definitely doable. They've done this a lot, so we're very comfortable with them doing this. Now the other 2,000 meters that we still have to put in as part of this base station integration, we don't have the smart points yet from Ferguson. So once the smart points come in, we put the order in like June, and we still don't have them yet. And part of that is the scarcity with materials and the microchips that we're dealing with, that we're seeing across all supply chains right now. Once those come in, they've actually will train our guys to use a handheld or a smartphone. And so when we put the new smart points in to each meter in the ground, my guys will be able to reprogram them right there on the spot before that meter goes live. They'll be able to convert them from cubic feet to gallons. So we won't have to worry about this. $10,000 basically is to pay Ferguson's personnel to do the conversion of the 1,479 meters that we currently have in the ground. So with that, I can answer any questions.
Thank you for the report, and we will start with Councilor Hart. Questions or comments on this item?
Well, I think it'll make it a lot easier for me to figure out how much water I'm using. So this seems like a really good idea. It seems to me that it also makes it quite a bit easier for the crews to make those when they go through and take their readings. So I'm in favor of this. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor Boersma.
I have no comments or questions on this.
Councilor Restucci.
No questions or comments, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Beeler.
No questions or comments.
Councilor Hicks.
No questions or comments.
Councilor Farmer.
No comments.
And no questions, comments from me either. So what is the desire of council on this item?
Mr. Mayor, I'll move to authorize city manager to expend the $10,001.74 with Ferguson Waterworks to reprogram the 1,479 of the city water meters to read in gallons instead of cubic feet.
And I will second that, sir. This is Deputy Mayor Boersma.
Okay, motion by Councilor Hart, second by Deputy Mayor Boersma to authorize the interim city manager to expend $10,001.74 with Ferguson Waterworks to reprogram 1,479 of the city water meters to read in gallons instead of cubic feet. Is there any debate on this item? Hearing no debate, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Mayor Guerrero,
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Boersma,
Yes.
Councilor Restucci,
Yes.
Councilor Beeler,
Yes.
Councilor Hicks,
Yes.
Councilor Farmer,
Yes.
Councilor Hart.
Yes.
Mayor, you have 7 yes and 0 no votes.
Thank you. Motion passes. Up next, we have items from council members. Mayor's appointments for boards and commissions. We did bring this to the second council meeting. I trust that we were able to get the different certificates for Ms. Beeler for the Open Public Record Meeting Act and all the good stuff, Madam Rangel.
Yes, everything was completed.
Excellent, thank you. So I would like to get council support and appointing Ms. Peggy Beeler to the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee. If there's no objection. Okay, we will have her so ordered then. Please welcome Ms. Peggy Beeler to the Lodging Tax Advisory Committee. Looking forward to hearing some of her input in those meetings. So thank you, Council, for your support.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
Can we make sure she is that she's able to participate?
And I think we did talk about that the last meeting. Ms. City Manager, I think did someone reach out to MRC and there was no conflict of interest of any nature, if I remember correctly?
That's correct. There is no law preventing that, or no RCW or WAC.
Does that answer your question, Deputy Mayor Boersma?
It does. I just want to make sure she's able to participate at the soonest possible opportunity. We need as many voices on that committee as possible. So I am enthused about having her participate. I know I've met her and I think she's got a lot to offer. So I'm definitely in favor of this.
Thank you. Okay, up next we have council request status report. Madam City Manager.
Okay, so we have the disabled parking area at the senior center. I will let Mr. Fisher report out on that.
Yeah, not really much of an update on that. We did purchase the ramp and can you hear me?
Yes, it's cutting off a little bit. You came back okay at the end.
Okay. And so right now we're figuring out our layout. We've got to put some bollards in and whatnot before we install the ramp, just to keep somebody from backing into it or hitting the ramp. So going through some layout on that. Been working with Mitch and the guys. And so hopefully here in the next week or two, we can get out there, start snapping some lines, get some paint on the ground. I'm going to have to core some holes in the asphalt to get the bollards in. And then once the bollards are in place and painted yellow, full of concrete, then we will go ahead and install the ramp.
Okay, and it looks like the next item is also for Shane, and actually the third item, so if you could report out on those two.
Sure. So the tree replacement, we went to order trees. There is a back order. So what we did is we went ahead and put an order for trees to pick them up in the early spring from Roots Yakima. And so in the meantime, we're going to try to get some of the curb and gutter and the sidewalk that's all heaved out from the trees that we already ripped out or ground out with our stump grinder, and be ready to go in the spring to get those trees back in. And then on the guardrails of Riverside, now that's part of, that's the funding that we're going to seek as part of the city safety plan. We had a meeting a couple weeks ago, 3 weeks ago maybe. Myself, Elizabeth, Joey Glosson was on the call, and Chief Anderson was there as well, and Jaime Alvarez with Streets, and went through some of the safety plan, crash data and whatnot. Email went back out today to staff that I forwarded on to that same group to review kind of the takeaways from the meeting, kind of some more, kind of refine some of the crash data and some of the input that HLA had gotten from that meeting from staff. And I've sent that back out for staff to review. And then, so hopefully here in the next week or two, we'll have some more information on that safety plan. And then hopefully we can go out, once that's in place, we can go out and we can seek funding for the guardrails. So it's quite a process, but we're making some headway on it. So with that, I can answer any questions on those two items.
Council members, any questions on those items?
Mr. Mayor, one of the questions I have is regarding where would you be seeking funds for that? for the guardrails?
It'd be through through the WashDOT,
Oh,
the
WashDOT.
Washington State Department of Education. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I'm sorry, I didn't
Yep.
quite see that there. Sorry.
That's all right.
Okay, I don't see any additional questions, so we are good to proceed with the next item, Madam City Manager.
Okay, the next item is police reserves, and we have no other updates on this. With the changes in legislation, I believe Chief Escalera has mentioned that it's not currently safe for our one reserve left to continue. So we'll keep the program active on the books, but at this point, we won't be actively seeking reserves until we can revamp the program so it's safe for everyone. Okay, next item is Roger Brooks, and this one I've mentioned many times that I'm going to be handling one section at a time. I think that this will be probably a 2022 project that we start looking at so that we can, just start taking off the boxes. My plan is to actually have a formal kind of worksheet that I put together that includes the things that we may have already done or things that have started. And then I'll bring that forward to council at a workshop, probably in either January or February, and then start giving you the plans to take which sections at a time. And then Water Tower, we are still working with Chase. He's obviously, if you've seen around town, he's been painting murals and been doing quite a bit of community legwork. And so I believe right now, the last item is just for him to get his bond. And as soon as he gets his bond, and he's insured, then we're ready to go with him for a bid and then bring forward design to council. But I do believe he's probably going to put it off until spring just because of his projects. And then increase in staff in planning and community development. I think that at last meeting, you allowed me to take that off because we did increase both of those. So without further ado, I would like to have that one removed. And then prosecutor RFP, that's something that we'll discuss at another meeting. I believe there's some different things for us to be able to pursue. So I can have no problem leaving it on, but I think that we probably need to have a planning session on how to move forward. The policing laws change our court, and I'm not sure if any of you have read the MRC articles that have been out about that and what the future of municipal courts are. So we may have an entire revamp of our court. So that's something I think we need to consider before we move forward with changing staff at this point.
Okay, council, any additional items you'd like to see on this request status report?
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
at the last meeting, I added the 35-mile-an-hour speed limit to the list, but I don't see it there.
And that's for Yakima Valley Highway, is that correct?
That is correct, yes.
And if I remember correctly, every time new council members come on board, with the exception of Councilor Beeler, we hear this. I know I brought it up when I first came on board, so it's something that's been on our radar for quite some time. And there's been some improvements. I know there's been larger markings and some additional signs, but there still seems to be a thought that there is a 25-mile zone versus a 35-mile zone, and we do get some frustrated citizens who are trying to drive a little more aggressive or trying to pass somehow and create a dangerous condition. So for sure, we're going to keep that on top of mind and hopefully address it one way or another.
I would agree, Mr. Mayor.
So, Madam City Manager, if we could just add that to our request status report.
Yes, Janeth will get that put on there. And actually, we're just looking and believe that the one that was updated was not provided tonight, that it was an older one that got loaded onto the agenda. So we'll make sure and get that added and have it for future agenda items.
Thank you. Up next, we have other reports, announcements, and/or questions by council. We'll go down our list with starting with Councilor Deputy Mayor Broersma.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a couple. First of all, I had a conversation with somebody from last year's Miss Sunnyside court. And apparently this year's court, they had a nice pinning ceremony on Facebook, which I didn't know about until today. But the last year's group is wondering, I don't know the status of their pin, but they were asking about the city coin. Apparently they were supposed to have received a city coin via the mail, and that has not yet happened. And so they're wondering if I could find out what the situation is there. Do we have any information on that?
Yes, Deputy Mayor. Actually, I believe what happened is the coins are sitting on Jackie's desk, and the day that she went into labor was the day she was going to mail them. I will check in with Jackie and double check. I did give the girls their actual city pins. So, because I actually got to see them at one of the last events, and I, as the new interim city manager, I carry pins in my purse so that we can give these out to people when we're places, because that's the goodwill that we need to generate. So they do have their actual pins. I'll follow up on the coin situation and make sure that they get those.
If I'm not mistaken, I think
Okay.
the outgoing court was gonna get coins and the incoming court was gonna get pins. Is that correct?
That should be right.
And actually, the outgoing court did not have city pins, and so I gave them some. And then I actually gave the new court their pins at that same event so that they would not be running around without their City of Sunnyside logo pin. Because as a mother of a daughter that was on the Grandview court, that is probably one of the most important things, is the recognition that their city has given them their official pin. And I knew that it would be okay that at least they got it on their sash, because I've actually seen them now at 4 events since then. So they're very pleased with the support of council. I think at this point, just making sure the former court gets their coins, and then hopefully, let's cross our fingers, next year we can hand those coins to the girls in person, the current court. So
All
that's
right.
what I have to report on that.
All right, thank you for that. I know these girls take this seriously, and I know last year's court, they went through a lot. They represented Sunnyside extremely well when they had the opportunity to do so. So I think any recognition we can give them is definitely earned. The second thing I have, Mr. Mayor, is I was driving around Sunnyside a little bit over the weekend and today, and I noticed that we've got a couple of roads, for example, Swan Road and Sunnyside Avenue. Some potholes are getting started, and I'm kind of wondering, is it too late in the season to perhaps fill those so it doesn't turn into something major? Or are you too late in the year to get that taken care of?
You want me to speak to that, Elizabeth? Or Mayor?
Sorry, yes, please.
Okay, so yeah, we might not be beyond the hot mix. I'll talk to Jaime tomorrow. Well, I won't be able to talk to Jaime tomorrow. I'll give you guys an update on that a little later on in this meeting and the reports from department heads. But if we miss the asphalt window, we can always put cold patch in, which is not hot mix. It's a polymer mix that we can put in. So I took some notes here, so I'll have the guys when they get a chance to get back out and take a look at that, have them address the potholes on Swan Road and on Sunnyside Ave.
Thank you.
Okay, Councilor Restucci, reports, announcements, under questions.
No, nothing to report this time, Mr. Mayor.
Councilor Beeler,
Nothing to report.
Councilor Hicks,
Yeah, just a question, kind of. When are we going back to in-person meetings? Everyone around us, with the exception of Yakima, is already doing this.
Madam City Manager, what do you think?
No.
No?
Well, I'm going to report out just a little bit on something today that's come up, and then I'll let Shane finish it out since it's been brought up. Today, I was at Rotary with 2 of city crew, and then later was informed that somebody in their crew has tested positive. So basically, I'm quarantining myself for the next 3 days so that I can go take a test to verify that I don't have COVID, because I don't want to go back to City Hall and spread it. Luckily, I was only at City Hall an hour for a length of time after my Rotary meeting, and I pretty much stayed to myself. And then Director Fisher, if you could please report out about your staffing.
Absolutely. So I was notified this afternoon, just shortly before I called the city manager and let her know. But evidently, we had an employee test positive, one of the public works staff. And so we immediately got on the phone, me and his direct supervisor got on the phone and started doing some contact tracing and found out that they all attended a safety meeting at the end of last week. And this employee, you know, since he tested positive today, he has symptoms, not feeling well. So odds are he probably had COVID last week and probably exposed everybody in the safety meeting, which was basically all my street crew, all my parks crew, a couple people at City Hall. And then, like Elizabeth said, she had lunch with two of the main people that were in that same group safety meeting. There was also a union meeting that took place late Friday. That there's several people there that were potentially exposed. So right now we're just kind of trying to trace it out and figure out who is in contact. Everybody will stay home until they can get a negative test to come back. So basically, streets and parks will be shut down. Parts of City Hall. Janet, who's on the call tonight, I told her to go ahead and stay home. She's had a slight exposure herself. So we are going to be kind of a skeleton crew at City Hall, and then only about half staffed at Public Works. So I'm optimistic. We don't have anybody that's really feeling any symptoms right now, other than the one employee that tested positive. So being optimistic about that. Everybody will take tests tomorrow down at the test site, and we should know by Wednesday. Get test results, and hopefully we get a majority of our crews back, and hopefully the city manager and anybody else who's been exposed back to the office by Thursday, Friday at the latest. So with that, I can answer any questions.
So I think to answer your question, Councilor Hicks, I think we're going to be staying a little Zoom meeting for a little while longer until things kind of settle down around the community. So unless council really wants to be in person, but yeah, I personally prefer to be us to do Zoom. We could do as much business via Zoom versus than we could do in person. But Councilor Hicks, does that kind of answer your question?
That gives me general, yeah.
Okay. Councilor Farmer.
I'd just like to just piggyback a little bit on Deputy Mayor Boersma's comments. I still think that we have probably treated our court, our Miss Sunnyside court, as stepchildren, and I think that maybe I think it's getting better, and I've talked to some of the people involved with the court, and they think it's getting better, but they still have feelings that they're concerned about the money they have raised and the money that has been given to them, that it doesn't come together. So those are just concerns that have been brought to me. I think this just bears to the fact that we need to find some independent way of financing the Miss Sunnyside court and pageant and float and everything else.
Councilor Hart.
I have many hearts. Most of them are rotten. I would one of the things I did want to say is that I attended the groundbreaking at the skate park on, I want to say Friday, last Friday, I believe. And it was really great. I mean, I have never seen so many Rotarians with vests on in my entire time of living in Sunnyside, which is since 1975 or so. But they looked great, and they were very proud of the project out there, as they should be. Of course, the court was there, and Miss Alba and some of the city crew were there, and other folks. And it's some of the skaters who are going to be participating and using that skate park were there as well. So it was quite an adventure to get to see it and hear what future plans are for it. As I understand, there's also a GoFundMe to help with some of the extra funding that needs to happen for the skate park. But it's It's going to be beautiful from the diagrams that plans I've seen of it. And then also that great big swirling hole out there. I see they're putting in the, what do you call those? Where they put the concrete stuff, forms. Yeah. So that was really fun. So that's what I did last week. That and listen to dog complaints.
All right, so I got a couple. I was able to attend the groundbreaking for the Yakima Chief CO2 recovery ribbon cutting. That was last Wednesday, I believe, Tuesday, I think it was. It was very well attended. There was several employees giving speeches about the time they've been there. Mr. Carpenter's dad was there, and Steve was there as well. And it was very well attended, like I said, and there was quite a few individuals, and they're looking to adding, I think they said between 14 and 17 jobs once they get that new building up and running. So that will definitely add some jobs to our community, and I'm really looking forward to seeing that come to fruition there at the old, the original location here in Sunnyside, and they're adding a new building next to it. So definitely was worthwhile attending, and good event for sure. After that, we have, there's a guardrail on the corner of on the bridge on the corner of Crescent and Bridge on the north side of I believe it's the north side. And it's kind of pushed in, like somebody ran into it somehow, and it's leaning quite a bit. I'm not sure if in the future we could take a look at that and see if it needs to be just straightened out, or if the post got broken, what needs to happen to get that replaced before somebody else goes in and goes through the guardrail and into the SVID dish there. And right in the block right above that, I believe it's Sunnyside Avenue, SVID did some work on that corner, and it's right at the edge of the road, and it's turning into like a pothole as well. So might as well take a look at that one. So it's coming around the corner there from right above Bridge Street and Crescent. I think it's Sunnyside Avenue. So, and if Shane needs some more directions, more details, please just get a hold of me. For those some items I noticed around town in the last few weeks, I was gonna keep an eye out for items, and that's all I have for that one. Council members, any additional questions or comments or questions? Okay, hearing none, we'll move on to our next agenda item, which is going to be upcoming council meetings. Madam City Manager.
So the agenda planning schedule shows that on November 1st, our workshop, we will have the 2022 preliminary budget to City Council. And that is making good progress. So we'll have that for you, along with probably delivering notebooks to you with the printed hard copies of the preliminary budget, depending on the results of COVID tests this week. And if we are symptomatic and have tested positive, you'll only see me via Zoom because I don't want to give it to someone else. City safety plan, that's the one that Mr. Fisher is bringing forward. We do have comments back from some of the key stakeholders. I've seen it in my inbox. I'll be reviewing it tomorrow. And with my I will be working from home. I will have my laptop, my cell phone, and will be still productive this week, just so you know. Our next regular meeting on November 8th, we will have the 2022 preliminary hearing, first public hearing, and then false alarm ordinance update, crane repair, and the garbage rate increase. And then after that, most of the other items are just standard. We would have our 2022 second budget hearing, public hearing. And then at the December 6th workshop, we have the 6th Street Improvement Project update. And then just getting that budget adopted. So we're in pretty good shape this year for the rest of the year for our meetings.
Thank you. Up next, we have items from department heads. Madam City Manager.
So tonight I wanted to say thank you very much to my staff. This is the first meeting since I've been interim where I didn't have an item to present, and it felt very nice to be able to let my staff take the lead and present their items, and they did a great job. So I wanted to commend them for that. And then obviously I will be working from home. I have my work cell phone. My voicemails I have access to, so I will be able to return phone calls and should maintain regular hours. On Saturday, I was assisted with Mr. Beeler to do the ribbon cutting for La Bella Vida. And it was very nice. She's got a little salon that she's opened up next door to, it's not the Ascent building. So there's the Ascent building, there's one in between, and then she's the next one over. She didn't have her logo on her window yet, but she's doing kind of personal care stuff, teeth whitening and different kind of things to improve your body sculpting. And then she has a little boutique in there with some clothes. Very nice, very well done. Again, we had, you know, the Miss Sunnyside Court there and Miss Cinco de Mayo. And then otherwise, I came to be aware that over the weekend, there was a little bit of trouble with the skate park staff and a citizen. So I had the citizen come in and talk to me this morning. I went over right before lunch and talked to the foreman, and we have it all taken care of. I've made contact with the citizen and make sure that there's no interpersonal relationship there it's gone bad. So I just wanted to let council know that that was all taken care of in one day, and shouldn't be a problem. But if anything happens, I will let you know. Otherwise, it's just business as usual this week. And if there's, you know, like I said, anything that someone needs, please let me know. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Public Works Director Fisher.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Yeah, I got a couple of updates. So we did hire a new code enforcement officer, and to my chagrin, it was actually one of my public works guys. And so it was actually my fog inspector, the fats, oils, and grease inspector, which he does an outstanding job. So I think he'll do an outstanding job in code enforcement as well. But what they did is that opened up that position. We did an internal 5-day in-house solicitation. And then one of my other guys in stormwater was the successful candidate in that. And so he's sliding over into the new fog inspector, which I'm very comfortable with that and know he'll do a great job. So now I have an opening in my stormwater collections division, which that ad just came out today, another 5-day in-house. So hopefully by next Monday, we'll have either a couple of candidates internally that'll put in for that position. If we do, then we'll just keep playing this leapfrog thing until finally nobody wants to move internally, and then we'll go outside to solicit for that position to be filled. Second update I have is on the skate park. This is a little better news than what Elizabeth reported, but I did meet with the electricians out there on Friday, this past Friday morning, and with Bill with Rotary. And it looks like, I'm not going to bring up any names of who the businesses were, but it looks like we've got the lights for the skate park, the actual light fixtures themselves, the LEDs are going to be donated. And it looks like the 3 steel poles that the lights will sit on are going to be donated by another company. So we're talking, you know, $9,000, $10,000, $12,000 worth of donations that are coming to us. Now the city will pay for the electrical service to power those lights, but I was just over the moon about you know, having those donations. That's great, and it really tells you about the community and that everybody's really excited about this. And these were local businesses that donated, and so it just really tells you about how, you know, everybody's really embracing this and wanting to put you know have their name up on the skate park, that they were part of this project. So I think that's great news, and that's all I have to report tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Now I'll let Chief Escalera report out.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Really not a whole lot to report at the moment. We have a couple of things that kind of transpired today. We got our new animal control officer who we fingerprinted and is helping Yakima County Humane Society take care of the background on that. So I think we'll be seeing that individual operating down here very soon. And also we responded to 6 shots fired calls over the weekend, 2 of which actually showed evidence of damage to people's residences and cars. And the other 4 were questionable, however, still kept us running through the weekend. So, but everything seems to be stable at the moment. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Escalera. Now it is time for Chief Anderson.
Good evening. As a couple things with the touch on the governor's mandate. We had a meeting today up in Yakima with the other fire chiefs to figure out how this has affected the EMS system. One of the issues is there's some potential brownouts occurring in the Upper Valley because the 2 ambulance providers up there, ALS and AMR, lost a few employees over the situation. And as a result, Sunnyside for the last week, we've actually been dispatched to calls as far as White Swan. So we came up with a plan, I think, today. The chairman of the committee has placed some hard deadlines for the other fire chiefs to make up their mind, which is basically tomorrow by noon. So I think if that happens, then moving forward, effective November 15th, I think we have a plan so that we will ensure that the coverage is still the same down here in Sunnyside. Other than that, I think this weekend we're looking forward to Halloween. I won't be here, but some of our staff are going to participate with the police department in doing the candy handout at the school. Thank you.
And Deputy City Clerk Rangel.
Nothing to report at the moment.
Can I squeeze in? Don't forget me.
I will not forget you, Ms. Horner, and I am so sorry. I need to give myself a little Post-it note that lists everybody. So please report out, Ms. Horner.
I just wanted to briefly talk about, we talked about at the beginning when the mayor asked some questions about the claims, but that the utility billing staff and particularly the finance supervisor, Delilah Sines, have worked incredibly hard on getting those ARPA applications processed for our residents that requested assistance with their utility bills. So I just wanted to make sure you were aware, we received 98 applications so far, 60 of which have been approved. There's 36 that are still pending additional information and just a couple that have been denied. But so far we have given out, I believe, about $30,000 of our $300,000 budget to cover those outstanding bills. So the program seems to be working really well. It is a lot of work for the finance department, but they have been doing an amazing job getting it done. That's all I've got.
Thank you very much. So with that, nothing else from department head.
Thank you. And from that, there would be no further business to come before council. And without objection, we will adjourn this meeting at 8 p.m. Get you guys some time to catch up on some TV. Good evening. Good night, everybody.
Good night, Mr. Mayor. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Have a great night.
All right.
Good night.